Alright guys, welcome back to the channel with the little hatchback that could, and on today's video I'm going to be installing an aftermarket intake from AEM. Let's do this. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jay, and this is Project Goodspeed, where I mainly focus on the Civic. So, like, comment, and subscribe if you guys like Civic content. This is an AEM short ramp intake, and the reason I wanted to install this, other than the fact that, it's pretty much a basic install for any one of these little Civics, because I wanted to see if I could get decent gas mileage from this short ramp intake from AEM. And also, this is actually one of the few intakes that I can install here in California and still have it carb legal. Now, for those of you who don't know, here in California, we have one of the most annoying smog emission regulations. Hopefully, I won't have any issues with this. In terms of installing it, really not that difficult. It's just a clamp here onto your throttle body and another one here onto the intake. This intake looks pretty freaking cool, I'm not gonna lie. Now, it's not actually a entirely brand new. I bought this off Facebook Marketplace, but it doesn't look like it's been used. And even if it has, maybe look, it's still brand new. Even if it has, I don't care. It's an intake, it's no mechanical parts really. Nothing could go wrong from installing it yourself. So I'm gonna try and install it now. In order to see if this is actually a good install, I imagine it's going to sound entirely different, maybe a little meaner, but I wanted to see if I can get decent gas mileage on this. I essentially filled it up with about, I want to say it was something like 10.6 miles, 10.6 gallons into the tank. And if we can see here, this is what my range is. I reset the odometer, the trip meter. Yeah, so I'm getting 308 miles to the tank. So 308 miles to the tank at 10.6 gallons. And you can see there, I'm pretty much rolling on E right there. That averages about to be 28 miles per gallon. Now, 28 miles per gallon isn't that bad, honestly, considering the fact that, gas is essentially like $6.30 in some places per gallon. That's ridiculous. So hopefully I can figure out if this install is going to actually help or worsen my MPG. But yeah, it is essentially on E. These little Civics tend to vary, because if I could turn it on right now, it might go up a little bit and it might fool you into thinking you have more. And honestly, I didn't want to risk breaking my fuel pump or messing up the car by running it all the way to E just to figure out how many gallons could fit in my tank and how many miles I could get to the tank. So for this little experiment, I'm going to go ahead and just say 308 is my range. Now, I looked it up and I think the tank is actually supposed to hold closer to 13, but like I said, the little gauge there it tends to shift up and down, and this isn't even the gauge for this car, so yeah, it could be different. I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and say that with the setup I have now and the stock air filter, I'm getting 28 miles to the gallon. I could be doing a little better if it weren't for some of the installs that I've got. My backyard special wing, it can't be too aerodynamic, honestly. The car probably weighs a little bit more now than it did with the factory weight. But 28 MPG is good in my book. Especially since it's a single cam, and look, you can essentially just fucking fit inside this engine bay. I do want to mention that this little Civic has had this stock air filter for the longest time. I did go ahead and switch out for an O'Reilly's brand short ram intake, and the MPG on that really wasn't that good. I think it was somewhere around 25 to 26. So I'm going to use that as a reference to see which one is actually better, this stock intake or the AEM aftermarket short ram intake. I'm actually interested to see which one's better. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to get better MPG with this one, but I don't think it'll be too bad with the AEM intake. Of course, that means I have to install this and drive it for another 300 thereabout miles. So we'll see how long it takes for me to actually drive that long. And granted, I haven't been driving any differently. It's still the same, just to work, back, and store and stuff like that. No long trips. I almost forgot. Before I take the intake completely out, I want to get a good comparison of what it sounds like with a stock intake and then one later when I install the aftermarket intake. So let's hear. So hopefully this isn't too loud for the mic to pick up. Let's take a look. Here it is. That's probably like 10 feet. Pretty stock, you know. Okay, that's enough playing around. Let's see. So this intake is for all kinds of models, honestly. Basically anything D series, I think would bolt up pretty fine. I do want to mention though that they are pretty expensive. You know, the market for these are ridiculous, honestly. They're like something like $200 for this intake. I don't think I paid that much. I don't remember exactly. I think it was something like 180, 160, something around there. But it's still a lot considering that it's just an intake. Although it is carb legal, so I guess I understand why it's a lot. Now I've managed to basically install or put together the gist of it here. We have a bunch of grommets here. I think this one we don't need. I'm gonna need both hands for this. Okay, so I managed to put together the intake. Pretty straightforward. I installed the grommet and these two seals, because we don't have, I think one of these is for a sensor. I don't know what the other one's for. It seems to be like a breather tube or something for a vacuum line. But this stuff is extra. Oh no! So if we go over here, we should be able to install it completely. And there we go. So that's how it bolts on. Not bad. So all that's left to do now is just to install these little vacuum. Oh no, go in there. So I think that should be good. And then I'll just fasten up this bracket. Man, this thing is shiny. Damn, just like that, and it's installed. It does look a lot roomier now without the big old stock intake box that's just laying there. Hopefully, it sounds a lot meaner. I think it will. Yeah, I think you'll definitely be able to hear the difference. I mean, I knew I could with the O'Reilly's intake. So this one, where are my keys? Let's check it out. Hopefully I don't run out of gas. Okay, no different in here. Let's see if we can hear the suction from through here. Not really. Oh yeah, she's breathing. She's breathing loud. For a single count. Honestly, I don't expect to gain much horsepower with this little intake, but so now that I've installed our AEM short ram intake, all that's left to do now is basically just go to the gas station, fill her up, and drive it so that I can see just how fuel efficient this new intake really is. So I'll check back once I've fueled her up and I've driven her till I was on E again. All right, guys. Yep. just like my broken hood. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I'm gonna be checking back next time to see just how well this intake did after I fueled her up and driven her, and I'm hoping I can get at least 300. I'm cool if I get 300 miles to the tank. I mean, given the fact that mine's stock and has, well, basically stock, just basic bolt-ons, I don't really have anything here that can give me a surprising amount of power for this thing to be considered fast, so I should at least have decent gas mileage. But that's gonna be it for this video, guys, so tune in for next time when I figure out if this thing was actually fuel efficient or if it was a waste of money. I mean, waste of money is a bit of a harsh term considering that it sounds cool, and I mean, even if it's not fuel efficient, it's staying in the car. I've already put it in, I'm not taking it out. That's gonna be it for this video, so take care and Goodspeed.